Got it? Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, thank you.
We're live? All right, welcome back. This is continuing a Hastings on Hudson regular Board of Education meeting for January 9th, 2024. We're coming back out of executive session. Up for vote now is the appointment of Principal Scott Wynn as a permanent, I guess is not the accurate word, but as the principal of FMS going forward. Is there a motion to approve this appointment? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Wait a minute. Whoa. Could we hear from Bill a little bit about his,
Oh, sure.
to the public about your decision to appoint Scott, to recommend appointing Scott?
Sure. Very pleased to bring the recommendation to the board to appoint Scott Wynn as the permanent FMS principal. You will know, board, that Scott won the job as an interim last spring in a very competitive process where we had cast the position out quite broadly, had a very strong set of applicants. That process led to Scott being the top pick. Scott has then been here since July 1, and in essence, in my mind, been running through one of the most intensive processes you can, meaning leading the building, being tested by students for sure, faculty, staff, parents, has done a number of key leadership moments right away in the summer, helping to craft a whole new behavioral system and approach, which he took the lead on with Camilla Dawkins, but also worked on that very closely with Amy Kazis and Luetta Pietro. So it was very much a district-wide approach. It was carried forward, bring right up to present, posted in the board docs is the FMS action plan. While preliminary, it's about as comprehensive a plan as I have seen for a middle school period, and certainly the most comprehensive we've seen in Hastings in a while. If I dare use first name, Scott would be the first to say it's preliminary and needs rounding out and all the rest. It has been embraced by the faculty and staff as a great starting point. It's been embraced by the leadership team as a great starting point. It aligns with the early, if you will, intellectual and philosophical framework of the portrait. Scott's also had an eye on the facilities, knowing that that always is a challenge financially and otherwise, but very thoroughly has developed sort of what's needed, both short and long term, and worked with Maureen and Joe on that. You know, that's a long process. We all know that, and so those are kind of a wide range of why he stands out so much. It's my ability, and if you will, dare I say, authority as superintendent, to bring a recommendation to the board at this point. And I stress, if you will, the double process here, because it's key. There was a public process, and now there's been very much public work. One thing I've come to admire about Scott, and will be my final comment, is he brings me the truth, and he's also willing to hear the truth. So he's always constantly learning to improve and adjust. So for example, we realized that the way we ran the lunchroom, recess, and lunch might need some modifications. Made those modifications, had some disgruntlement, pushback, all the rest. So Scott and Camilla listened, and we made some adjustments back. So in the life of middle schoolers, what happens at lunch is pretty significant. What happens at recess is pretty significant. So that's just, if you will, an example where leadership and listen and then modify is necessary. And I'm cheating. Last thing. We have Amy Kazis as principal at the elementary school, and I think most anywhere would say one of the finest elementary schools you can find. And I've traveled the country, so I can speak to that pretty accurately. With Scott leading the middle school, I think a very, very good middle school will get to another level. And also with Amy, you have an exquisite elementary educator. With Scott, you have an exquisite middle school educator. And we're in the process of landing someone to fill very big shoes of Lou's, so that at the high school we have a top flight high school educator. And all three of them are going to be asked by me to work together coherently to link our system to be K-12. So that there is my opening and introduction regarding Scott Wynn.
So, thanks, Bill. I just want to say that the board had a chance in exec session to meet with Scott and talk to him, and I think for me, it's a pleasure to be able to vote for Scott as middle school principal. And I guess what I'm so struck by from what you're just saying now, we say that he just came in. I feel like you've been here for a long time. And on one hand, I think you totally hit the ground running. And I think in some ways that's because of your experience and you weren't green. At the same time, you are you understand enough about working in a system and with people to know that you just don't sort of hit the ground running and run all over people, that you run with people and you make a team. And I think you've really been able to finesse that. And I think that we're really very fortunate to have you join us in a full-time, not interim role as principal of the middle school.
Yeah, well said, Jody. Thank you for pausing me.
Mhm.
And I would just echo that, what I've said already in the executive session, but also an extra layer of sort of process. I think for a board, oftentimes appointments, we're just sort of the last stop. We take your recommendation seriously from the administrators, but in this case, we've had an opportunity as a board to observe your work for real. As Bill pointed out, with interacting with students, parents, the system as a whole, teachers, faculty, all, co-equal pieces. And it's been impressive all down the line. I think the action plan you put together, as I said, minutes ago, it's authoritative, it's real, it's got breadth and depth, and gives me every confidence that you're going to do a wonderful job in the position. So I'm happy to vote. Anyone else?
I was going to say, I'm so sorry that I missed the executive session because I was at work, but I'm sure I can get somebody to catch me up. So I'm very disappointed to have missed it. But what I liked about you, Scott, was that you're willing to challenge the status quo, like with the lunch situation. And as Bill said, to turn around and be like, okay, try different things and see what they work, see if they work, and if they don't, pivot and move. And I think that that's definitely what we need. I love your academic focus. I think it's amazing. And I think it's hard enough having parenting a middle schooler. I can't imagine having middle schoolers around me, hundreds of them all day long. So thank you for doing that.
Anyone else?
We had a nice conversation with Scott in the earlier executive session, so I fully endorse. And I just wanted to compliment you on your success and your energy and kind of really taking a lot of things, taking the bull by the horns in a lot of different areas. So I think we can benefit a lot in the district from your skills and your energy. So nice to have you permanently.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Could I say,
No, of course.
I believe that we need to modify the appointment, because the tenure, I believe, should be shortened by a year, because Scott has already served a year in the position, and he's previously been tenured, so he should really only be, it should be effective 26. I'm sorry, I should have looked at this before.
No, that's fine.
No, I guess I just didn't even really look at the appointment.
that's fine.
But it should be June 30th, 26, with a tenure date of July 1st, 26.
Yes.
So with the stipulation that's the
That's-
fact.
That would be
that's a fact.
changed.
Yes.
Okay.
The way it
Can
is.
we
Yes.
just quickly adjust it?
Well, we can just vote
The other
given
things?
and
Sure.
with that
Melissa adjusted
assumption.
it, I just
Yeah,
wanted.
okay.
prior
Yeah, we
to
can just
taking
modify it
vote.
before you vote. Good catch.
Okay, good catch.
And I just wanted to add my endorsement too. I know I've been largely silent over here. Scott is an extremely strong instructional leader. He's an excellent thought partner. He strives for coherence. He works collaboratively across the board. And he has my extraordinarily strong endorsement.
Excellent.
I think our last principal was here for how many years? 20, or I don't know what you're committing to, Scott. but you might have a long
Well, we had
time
Jennifer,
with
but
us. Yeah.
you mean Gail before that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, excellent. Is there a motion to approve our appointment of Principal Wynn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye? Excellent. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Want to say anything, Scott?
No, just that I'm thrilled to be here, and it's been an amazing 6 months, and looking forward to many more years. Can't commit to how many. Many more years.
I'll take many, it's fine.
Many's good.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Well-
Drive home before the rain gets worse.
Drive safely.
I don't think I can dismiss you, actually.
No, it's all good.
All right. In the interest of expediency, because of the looming weather, we have a consent agenda which includes our business items this time. So if you look on the agenda, we have business items, placement, and services, so I'm going to go through. So are there any questions about our business items, our placement and services for CSE, our appointments, our amendments, our resignations, our leaves of absence, or the minutes from the previous meeting, which would have been December, let me check.
8/19.
December 19th, thank you. Any questions at all about any of these items on the agenda? No? Is there a motion to approve?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jody.
No, I just think there might be some public
No,
comment.
well, I mean, after you vote, they both want to make a public comment. So
Okay.
we'll add it to the agenda.
That's fine,
right
sure,
after.
of course, yeah.
Thank you.
No, of course. Are there any questions about our consent, our business items, placement, services, appointments, amendments, resignations, leaves of absence, or the approval of our minutes? No? Is there a motion to approve our business items, placement, services for CSE, appointments, amendments, resignations, leaves of absence, and our minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Did you just have to like B to H?
I don't know, I feel like I should have to
Yeah,
say
no,
the thing
yeah,
itself,
I
you know, for
appreciate
clarity.
that.
We're going to open up for public comment. We have we don't have the lectern, I guess.
Just use the
Yeah,
mic.
use the mic.
Just use the mic and let them sit there.
If you want me to, I'll sit. It doesn't matter. Right there.
Okay, yeah, feel free. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. Dear friends on the
And just,
board.
could you state your name and your...
Sorry, that's right. George Wishelms, I live at 86 Hillside. Is that right? Okay. Dear friends on the board, I'm here tonight to speak narrowly about some recent conflict in our community. Specifically here at the board, originating from a question a board member had about whether young children should be taught about gender. I'm not here to relive the past. Rather, I think this is an excellent question worth continued community's consideration. First, though, I do think identity is important, and I'd like to share that I am new to this town. I grew up an hour and a half north of Syracuse in a very conservative part of the country. I love my neighbors from where I grew up, and I agree with anyone who feels it is critical we be able to fearlessly talk about any topic in a sincere and authentic, thoughtful way, without derision, even if we may deeply disagree. I also believe none of us actually fit into neat political boxes. I'm here because I think it matters. It matters to our children how we talk to each other. Now to the specific question at its core, should K-2 children be taught about gender? I work as a Waldorf pre-K and kindergarten teacher sometimes over in Rockland County. It may surprise you to hear that, ideally, I do not think young children should be instructed about our adult notions of gender. Maybe I should repeat that. If your inkling is that we shouldn't place that burden on them, I agree. I firmly believe young children should be granted the space to form their identities devoid of our adult anxieties. This perspective I'm sharing with you is not just my own, it is a bedrock of Waldorf pedagogy. I wish it was that easy, though. We all hope we can pass our values on to our children, but our children, our very young children, learn a lot of their views on gender and power and consent from Hollywood and Madison Avenue through films and videos they watch, the games they play, and what they see online. Wouldn't it be helpful to have at least some of these conversations happening in school? Our children also learn from the clothes and toys that are marketed to them, even while they're still in the cradle. We know the gender assignment of every single child in every stroller we pass without asking because they are decked out head to toe in gender signifiers. In my direct experience, rather than providing clarity, even in pre-kindergarten, very young children commonly express a lot of confusion about these rules, such as, why are you a girl if you have long hair and a boy if you have short hair, or why do I have to wear pink? Unfortunately then, yes, we do need to get involved. When we think about social emotional curriculum for young children, we should begin with shared principles, such as kindness and fairness, empathy. These are issues they understand well. We need to teach them that there is a broad world of possibilities for how they may choose to live and meet their potential, to do the greatest good in their lives. Young children understand possibilities well. Together, we need to work hard, actively, to carve out for them the space they need to discover and define themselves. All our children, religious, agnostic, atheist, conservative or liberal, or anywhere between, will grow up to be stronger, more capable, and more flexible if we recognize that we need to include these lessons in our curriculum for early childhood. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? I think that's it. So we're going to motion.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Welcome.
Hi. Alex Salunius, 14 Euclid. So with the two school delays based on weather, I'm just, having previous years never had this happen, I'm just kind of wanted to add a comment to sort of a curiosity on why this is now different. Has something materially changed? Have the protocols changed? Is the weather just getting worse? Is there something that we can do as a community to petition for improved infrastructure? It'd be important to understand the thought process behind that, maybe in future emails, if not now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll open it for board comments, just in the case that.
I do have a comment. I'm still learning these protocols of these meetings. I have a comment. It is not in response to either of you, but I don't want to sound disregarding. It's all very strange, the protocols. Not strange, just new.
Unusual. Yeah.
I just wanted to very briefly say that there is a group of concerned citizens, I am one of them, about that are concerned with the lack of composting at the schools.
The lack of composting?
Dobbs Ferry has a robust composting program and gardening program and paid position for a person who manages this. I've been going to Hillside on Fridays helping the kids to sort garbage. It's been really interesting. There's a lot of waste. That's another topic. But coming before us soon will be the option to approve a Schedule C position, Schedule B.
Or we were trying to figure out whether it be a contract
Oh,
of
yeah.
some sort, like something that would address the potential of having someone
Yes.
help with this.
Someone who would manage
Correct.
volunteers. And this would happen first at the elementary school level. So I just want to put that in the ether as something that we've been working on.
I love that. Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Is it just for the cafeteria or the classrooms as well?
Right now, it's just for the cafeteria, but that's a good.
And I'm curious
Mhm.
if the problem has gotten worse since we got the cafeteria versus when everybody brought their.
Since what? I'm sorry, Doreen.
If there's more food waste.
I'm wondering if there's more waste since we got the cafeteria. Not that I don't want the cafeteria.
Right.
But when everybody had to bring their own stuff, because my kids had to bring their own stuff, so everything just ended up back in their lunchbox, and then they
Right.
took everything home.
But the waste
So-
still existed
Yeah.
then, right? It
But you
just
could
maybe
deal with it
went-
at home, you know what I
Right,
mean?
Right.
So, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the cafeteria. I'm
Mhm.
saying like that's an interesting point, and I'm curious. Like I don't want to say I fully support anything in here, but like I'm on board with what you're saying. I think it's great. That's awesome that people want to do it, and yeah, let's figure it out.
Thanks.
Thanks for raising that. Any other comments on our board? No?
No, I think it's impressive that people came to the board meeting to speak on a stormy night, and
To get back.
I think it's good for the board to hear, and even to know that we need to think about communicating about changes in policies around closure. I'm not sure if it's really so different, and it may just be the weather, but I leave that to you guys to address at some point in the future.
Yeah, I mean, to address, board by design don't talk and engage when the comments are
right.
made, but to be of use and not obtuse.
Yeah.
A letter about October something other laid out the rationale, and the volume of rain, the volume of moisture in the atmosphere has changed dramatically. So we now have to worry about flash flooding and issues of that, and access in and out of Hastings. We can get our children largely to school, but in the last storm, a district not far from us, opened and had very few staff and created all kinds of issues. So yes, I've been at this work for 14 years in the region. My most difficult decisions relate to weather, truly, because at the end of the day, I got to make the decision. I got to have a good team to advise me, but I got to own it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And
With very few hours of sleep.
and so, but I have here a great team with, which I put out in a public letter as to who I talk to. So I think the board and residents should be assured that I am not going to get the calls all right, but there's a lot of good thought going in. And like it or not, our climate has changed, and we are seeing that in the volume of moisture. So to be very specific to what was looked at for tonight into tomorrow, snow melt on maybe 3 to 4 inches of rain, on abnormally warm temperatures which keep more moisture. This is not me, it's just the smart people I talk to, keep more moisture, thus the volumes of rain coming, maybe as much as 4 inches in about a 12, 14-hour period. The infrastructure around here writ large, not just Hastings, cannot handle that. So then you get in situations where getting people in and out could be problematic. So we're hoping that only a delay tomorrow will do it. A couple weeks ago, we had to go into closure. We're not anticipating that tomorrow.
I think the wind also, that
Yeah, the other thing going on is
70
winds.
mile per hour winds with trees that get
And
uprooted when they're.
the other part is winds coming into Hastings out of the southeast are particularly problematic, because that's our least protected direction. So is all that,
And then
coming-
faculty and staff getting here who don't live
yeah, and it's from the board relayed from, it's a great question, because all the quad districts are in the same
Yeah.
decision process. We're all in a delay tomorrow to give ourselves time to still have school, but get into the daylight hours and see what's going on. Because the last go-round got to be
Bad.
very problematic. And we missed it in September, as Maureen knows, and we had children stranded, special needs children stranded, not able to get home. And while we have 1,600 students here, if we have any number, I think it was 10 or 11 students stranded, we just can't live with that. So if we've given up, if we've given an 181-day year, if we've given up some hours,
Yeah.
I'm willing to own that, and I know I won't have some people happy,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to do more communicating. The letter, we laid that out, I laid it out again, and I'll keep refining that. Again, people rightly so will say, well, I'm not quite sure, and I understand that. I will leave you with a laugh line on this. I still live in Greenwich, where I was superintendent. My daughters are in the system, and they keep enjoying telling me that our teachers tell you, Dad, the time you called a snow day, and it turned out to be totally sunny. There was no snow. So that was a lot of lost instructional time for just really bad decisions by this tall guy. So I hope that's helpful, but I'm all ears, and any families, parents, beat a path to my door through Melissa D. Happy to sit and talk, happy to do some roundtables on it, just to really help the understanding.
Bill,
back
it
in-
might be helpful, I'm just looking on HOH schools, it might be helpful for what the thought process for school day, is it on here someplace? I can't find it.
Rich.
Just like the general thought process for
Yeah.
when a school gets closed.
Yeah, I put that out a couple times. We had.
You sent emails, but I'm just wondering if it's on the HOH
We
schools.org.
can see, that's a good weather, the inclement weather procedures is up somewhere, I forget where.
Okay.
It's, I think, under the superintendent's page. But there's no hard and fast rule, because you
Yeah,
have
no.
to piece together a number of things.
Yeah,
But
it's the
what is up
superintendent's
is the process to get to the decision.
Yeah, it is, I don't
District
see,
announcements.
Yeah.
under where, district announcements?
Yeah, on the homepage.
Okay.
And
Well, you know-
I resend that every August, and I resent it last week.
Yeah.
It was a link in the Friday letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Friday letter had 3 technical updates. One was weather, replaying the October update, and then replaying the link to the
Right.
sequencing that leads to the decision.
Back in the day when we used to get snow, we would have a lot of snow days and a lot of late openings. I mean, maybe
last
that'll
year-
never happen again.
Yeah, I mean, last year we did the 6 give-backs,
Yeah.
so, anyway. But so, thank you for the question, Board, and
Yeah, it's just a layer. It's worth noting also that it might be sort of novel for us, but Northern Westchester Putnam, all those districts tomorrow are on basically the same delay.
Yeah, I know, I was telling Bill, like, I was
Yeah.
on a meeting, and it seems as though everyone, if they hadn't already announced it, everyone was going to the 2-hour delay, including programs or children that attend outside of the district, so I was just on with colleagues, but, some of them had announced and some hadn't.
Yeah.
And one thing I used to not understand, because I was like, my kids walk to school, they can go to school, it's fine. It's a little bit of rain, I'll drive them. But I didn't realize then being educated on the fact that it's like the teachers and the admin can't get in, they can't walk. So that's, and Sawmill River Parkway is constantly closed.
Right here.
So, so it's hard for people who, and the buses to get around, exactly.
Obviously, in our immediate area, we're like, there's no problem in transporting.
Right, exactly.
But it's staffing it.
Yep, it's
They can
getting
show up,
everybody in, right?
And as we've said, in other school districts where they have held it open, and I know that like every superintendent, that's been here has always said, they do work in unison kind of with the quad districts to understand so that it's not any one district that usually goes it alone. It's people who actually work in concert because it's the same construct in every school district in its immediate vicinity. So it is, and I think to a superintendent, they always say the hardest call to make is delay or a closure because it's hard, it's tough, it's disruptive. And we
Affects
understand
everybody.
that for
Yeah.
the students, for the staff, and obviously for families in the community, but it often it's a question of safety net at the end of the day.
We are, just not to keep belaboring the point about the weather coming tonight, but we have actually staff that is working all night on a flood watch because we did have significant, damage the last 2 times in terms of our external and just, things that sometimes people don't know occur, but we have to have people on that are out clearing our drains all night and drains on the fields because prior to this, the flood or the damage we had on Reynolds Field, as we know, was like, we came out of pocket for those damages because insurance wouldn't cover it because they were blocked drains. So when debris gets in those drains in the evening, so we had to have 2 staff members who should be coming back at like 10 o'clock tonight that will work all night. Well, 2 or 3 staff members just to ensure all our drains, and they've been cleaning them all day. So anyway, but just as an example.
It's a problem, it's a problem in our village that not all of our drains are cleaned all the time. I mean, I've seen floods in other people's neighborhoods because of it.
Street drains today as well, like our own.
I don't think it's just here, though. I mean, I heard a whole thing on the radio today about people being warned about the flooding because of the drains being, other places being blocked, and the snow melting, and the water can't drain, and...
And when it's better when it's cold, right? Because then it's
frozen, right?
Frozen, so it's,
All right, well, I hope it all works out well for us.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
No surprises. Anyone else, or we're good? All right, is there a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye?